In this video, we're going over a recent trade that I did for Fantastic Four #1 in a 1.0 for the lot of books that you're about to see here. Stay tuned.
Bry's Comics.
Welcome to Bry's Comics. We always do a monthly giveaway on this channel. If you subscribe to the channel, comment, and like this video, you're entered to win a free slab. And if you head over to bryscomics.com and sign up for the newsletter, you're entered to win additional free slabs over there each and every month. All of the books that are going to be featured in this video are going to be available at bryscomics.com, with the exception of a couple, I believe. And use code COLLECT10 for 10% off the already low prices. So this trade was a lot of fun. It started when a seller reached out to me and he had a raw copy of Fantastic Four #1. I did a whole video on that. He had 3 books actually that he had collected and bought off the shelf, and he wanted my help to get them pressed, cleaned, graded, and sold. And I agreed to do it on like a commission basis. And I don't usually do commissions, and the main reason is because I'm just not set up for it logistically, like keeping everything straight of whose books are whose and who's sold for what. I mean, it just takes some back end website work to do that. That's the main reason why I don't do consignments, and possibly I'll do them more in the future. But for this one, you know, it was just several books and it was easy enough to manage. And so, and the main reason that I wanted to do it, one was it was such a cool story for the backstory of the Fantastic Four, that he had it the entire lifetime of this book. I'm still amazed by that he kept it for all those years, because the vast majority of people that bought Fantastic Four #1 off the shelf did not keep those books. And so we ended up not pressing and cleaning it because it was so fragile and delicate, and we sent it in. It came back a 1.0, and we knew that it was going to be somewhere around there. And the main reason that I was excited about it, though, is I wanted to be able to offer an entry-level Fantastic Four #1 to my subscribers, my customers, my friends, you know. And I thought, well, this was just going to be so awesome to be able to actually offer this to someone for a good price. And so that's why I was so excited about doing it. And then when it came back a 1.0, and I put it up either for sale for $10,500 or for trade in $12,000 worth of books. And I was kind of hoping that it went the trade route. And I definitely got, you know, lots of offers. I ended up taking one that came through. It was like, you know, one of the first ones that was a reasonable offer, and it was for about 13 different books that we'll go over here in just a minute. And I crunched the numbers, and I know that the value was there. But the main reason that I was excited about doing that trade is, you know, it's definitely would have been easier and for me to just sell it for $10,500 than having to, you know, do a trade and list and sell all these different books, because now I have to photograph, list, promote, pack, ship, sell each individual one. There's a lot more work that goes into it. Probably made more sense just to sell it for the $10,500, but it's not always about the money. And I was excited to be able to offer this book to somebody that maybe wouldn't have been able to get it otherwise. I mean, the vast majority of us cannot dish out $10,500 for a single comic book, especially if you're married. I mean, that really complicates things. And so I knew that this would just be a great opportunity for someone to trade a big chunk of their collection for this one book. And this guy, you know, I knew that he was over the moon to be able to finally have a Fantastic Four #1. He jumped on the opportunity. He was so excited, and it just feels so good to be in a position to be able to offer something like this, you know. And I'm hoping to do it again soon. There's a couple different deals that I have in the works with some grails and whatnot that I hope to be able to do this again, because it's super rewarding. I'm having a lot of fun, you know, doing these trades. All right, so let's take a look at this stack of books. All right, so to start us off, we have Amazing Spider-Man #50, and I just featured this in one of my videos from last week of safe books. And when I think of safe books, this is near the top of the list for Amazing Spider-Man, and just in general, just such a classic cover by John Romita. First appearance of the Kingpin and Wilson Fisk. It's the origin of Spider-Man retold, and there's also, fun fact, a little Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon cameo in it. It's just such a classic cover that will always be desirable, and definitely a safe investment. If it was a 7.0 or higher, I definitely would have kept it, because I would love that in the PC. Another book that I would love in the PC that I would keep if it was 7 or higher is Fantastic Four #48, the first appearance of Silver Surfer and Galactus. I have one of these classic covers in a book that has not seen its greatest day yet. I think there's a lot of room and potential for this book going forward. Here we have Marvel Spotlight number 5, the origin and first appearance of Ghost Rider and Johnny Blaze, and it's also the first appearance of Roxanne Simpson. Incredibly tough book to get in high grade. I think there's only a handful of 9.8s on the census. Here's a nice 5.0. So I wanted to do a comparison here of these two books since we have them side by side, a 5.0 and a 5.5, and they're both in the newest generation of CGC cases. And if we go down and look at the spine, they're almost indistinguishable. I mean, the two grades, these two books are in very, very similar conditions. I would almost argue that this 5.5 has a little bit more wear, a little bit of a reader's crease there in the spine that you don't see like a full-on reader's crease on the 5.0. So like there's other stuff going on with these two books, but I've looked at them both very closely, and the end takeaway is that there's very, very little differentiating these two books, and in fact I would almost say that this one is nicer. So that kind of gives you an idea of the subjectivity of grading, and especially in that 5.0 range. All right, so next up we have Silver Surfer number 4, and this is a 1.0 because the spine of cover is completely split and reattached with tape. It's interesting because we're going to see a 1.5 here in a sec, but what's cool about this book is you got the full image right there. There's really nice colors. The tape that's on there, I mean, when you look at it, it's not as bad as some tape that I've seen. So for an entry-level copy of this book, and you still get the full image and everything, I think it's a fantastic presenting 1.0. And then we have this 1.5. So we have Hulk 181, the first full appearance of Wolverine, and obviously there's a chunk that is missing out of the top corner of this book, and it almost looks like a dog bite. I mean, like looking at the actual bite, I mean, the edges, it's very strange. It's unlike anything that I've ever seen before on a comic book having a piece out like this. Other than that, I mean, this book would have probably been like an 8.0 or an 8.5. There's a little bit of a tiny little piece out on that corner as well. So it's just funny that, you know, other than that, this book would have been fantastic Hulk 181, but because of that huge chunk, if you're ever wondering what grade a book would get with a huge chunk like that bitten out of it, it gets a 1.5. Then we have Submariner number 1 in an 8.0, first solo series for the Submariner. Just a book that has picked up a lot of heat recently, cooled off in more recent months here because we haven't had too much information, but I think we will get some more announcements about that soon. Savage She-Hulk number 1, origin and first full appearance of the She-Hulk. Strange Tales number 180 in a 9.0, and it's the Pence edition. So this is a book that I definitely would have kept if it was a little bit higher grade than a 9.0. It's the first appearance of Gamora. I love Gamora as a character. She's one of my favorite characters. This is a super hard to find Pence edition. This was a book that I was really excited was part of this little trade because it's Tales of Horror number 7. It's just a 10-center from 1953 from Toby Press. And it's just an awesome pre-code horror. And one of the things that I love the most about it is this back cover. So it's got this ad that you probably recognize if you've ever read, Silver Age books. And it's the Charles Atlas ad. And what's so funny about this, I don't know that I've ever seen this on a back cover. I mean, I've seen it plenty of times. I'm sure there are other covers where it's on the back cover, but I'm not sure that I've ever seen one. But it's really funny because right here it says, this is an actual photo of the man who holds the title, the world's most perfectly developed man. And I just think that's so funny because when you look at that picture, I mean, by today's standards, it certainly wouldn't be the world's most perfectly developed man. I'm not sure if they could even use that term these days. It probably would be riddled with controversy to say that one form of a man is perfect over another. But it's just that classic ad where you've got the skinny boy and his girlfriend on the beach, and this guy's kicking sand in his face, and he says, hey, watch it, and he's like, what are you gonna do about it? He says, one day I'll get even, and she says, oh, don't let it bother you, little boy. And I'm just like, whoa, his girlfriend, shamed him like that, called him little boy right there out in public. He was so motivated. He goes home, he sends in a stamp, right? He risks a stamp and sends in this very ad to get this book from Charles Atlas, and bam, what do you know? He becomes a muscular man, goes back to the beach and gets even with the guy that kicked sand in his face all that time ago. And what gets me about this is he's with the same girl. Okay, and she says, oh, Joe, you are a real man after all, and he's the hero of the beach. But here's the thing, if this is my girlfriend, relationship ends right here when she mocks me and calls me little boy. But he takes her back, he stays with her, and she stays with him. That's what I don't get about this. All right, next we have Miss Marvel number 31, and this is the Hans Virgin variant. Awesome bubblegum cover. There's a whole little niche of collectors that love to collect bubblegum covers. Then we have Spider-Woman number 1, signed by Peach Momoko. Really awesome signature there for Peach Momoko. I'm not sure that I've ever actually seen her signature. It's not something you see a whole lot of. And this is the variant cover for Spider-Woman number 1. Young Avengers number 1 and 9.6. So this is a book that I'm not selling. Anytime that it comes in a collection, I hold on to it because I just think there's just too much potential here. It's the first appearance of the Young Avengers in Patriot, Iron Lad, Asgardian, and Hulkling, and Kate Bishop, and first Alan Heinberg comic work. I actually didn't know that. It's the first Alan Heinberg comic work. Definitely a book with tons of future potential. And another book that I currently am not selling and holding is Something is Killing the Children number 1, first print. Here's a CBCS 9.8, first appearance of Erica Slaughter. I have a ton of faith in this book and this series. I'm hopeful, at least I should say, and I think, if done correctly, this could be, the type of series like The Walking Dead or something that has, just tons of ongoing potential. So I hold that anytime I get it. And Venom, Deadpool, What If number 1, 9.6, always a highly coveted book. It always sells right away when I get it on the website. So there you have it, guys. Again, these are available now at brycecomics.com. Use code COLLECT10 for 10% off. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment, and like this video if you're not already subscribed, to enter yourself to win a free slab each and every month. And if you head over to brycecomics.com and sign up for the newsletter, you're also entered to win a free slab. As always, thank you for sticking with me to the end of the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bryce Comics.